the workers of iniquity will not be able to hide themselves. Giving all praise to Yahweh by Shem Shai by Shem Kakwadash. And this is from an article on RT News, their website, not the YouTube page. Okay, this is an old article that was put up a year ago, which I did a video on the same subject a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago. Anyway, the article is Run for the Hills. Pentagon sends teams into mountain bunkers as pandemic preparation go into full swing. So this is a year ago when things were going crazy a year ago. It settled down, and now you have the new variant, which they say is far worse and far more contagious than the initial plague, we can call it, pandemic, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, you see the picture, it says Cheyenne Mountain Complex. You see a Jake out there holding guard, but I'm going to read some of this article, and then I'm going to give you a couple of precepts. It said the U.S. Northern Command. Oh, remember, and notice too that you have various commands, which are the military. You have a certain number of troops under a command. This is Northern Command. Northern Command meaning in America, these troops that are set up for the defense of the super rich, these Congress people, the president, and that term is called continuity of government. Look that up on Google. Continuity of government. So when there's a major disaster, if there's a black swan event, look that up. I did a video on that. Black swan. I'll give you an example of a black swan event. The 9/11 could be considered a black swan event. Like I said, look that word up. So you got Northern Command, which is over the U.S., over Babylon. You have other commands. You have another one called I think it's called Af Command, Afra Command, I think it's called. I hadn't gone through that in a while. And that's U.S. troops that are over there currently in the continent of Africa. And the head general, it happens to be a Jake. And you have, you got to understand, you have U.S. military bases, whether they're Air Force, military, Army, whatever, Marines. You have over 800, almost 1,000 military bases around the planet, and that proves that who are the leaders of this world? It's the U.S. The U.S. is the unofficial head of NATO. Anyway, let me read this article. It says the U.S. North Command has sent teams of essential staff deep underground. Another term that they use, deep underground military bases, DUMBs, to wait wait out the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember, this is a year ago, so this new variant will be far worse at the peak of it than the initial virus. It says on the surface, more than 1 million grunts. A grunt is a nigga, a nigga in the military. That's a grunt. He's a guy that's in the forefront, the front of the line, so to speak. So when all hell breaks loose, he gonna get the first. He's gonna be the first one to get it. All the grunts are gonna be the first to get it. That's why they toughen him up. Anyway, let me. If I lost my spot, excuse me. Okay, it says it goes into boy. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. It says to wait out the COVID-19 pandemic. On the surface, more than 1 million grunts won't be quite as cocooned. In other words, they're gonna have to be on the outside. Now, they're really setting this thing up for this the coming World War III, which is Armageddon in the scriptures. Reading on, it says Air Force General Terrence O. Shaughnessy heads up the U.S. Northern Command, as well as the North American Aerospace Defense Command, which deals the Aerospace Defense Command. That's the command that's going to fight our Lord Michael and the innumerable amount of angels that's going to come to the earth to do two things: to destroy America and to deliver the elect to Israel. So they're going to go head to head with the forces of heaven, and they're going to be utterly destroyed. It said a joint U.S.-Canadian, so you got the U.S. and Canada working together, which are two members of NATO, and then on the other side of the world, in Europe, you got the rest of the NATO forces. It says a joint U.S.-Canadian operation that monitors the skies over North America for missile, so they know missiles are going to come. They know that Russia and other nations possess missiles. You know, Joel, the 3rd chapter, 9th verse on down, it says, "Let the weak say I am strong." And what's the great equalizer? The missiles, the ICBM missiles, the intercontinental ballistic missiles. For missile and airborne threats, earlier this week, Shaughnessy told reporters via Facebook that some of his watch teams would be moved from their usual command center at Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado to a number of hardened underground bunkers. So one of your hardened underground bunkers is a Cheyenne Mountain complex. It goes on to say, one of these facilities is the Cheyenne Mountain Bunker Complex, a warren of tunnels buried under 2,000 feet of granite and sealed behind blast doors designed to withstand a 30 megaton nuclear explosion. So they have blast doors. Blast doors for what? They're not really protecting themselves against the Crown Vic. They're protecting themselves against the missiles. So now I'm going to go into a couple of precepts. Revelation 6 verse 16. I'll go up a couple of verses. I'll go to the 14th verse. Revelation 6 verse 14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their place. That's the mushroom cloud. 15th verse. And the kings of the earth, meaning the rulers, and the great men, and the rich men. So a lot of these people that's going to be in those bunkers are the super rich. And it's going to be the military that's going to protect them. And the chief captains, we know that it's talking about military men. And the mighty men represents the military. And every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. Now, you have this mountain, this deep military base, Cheyenne Mountain. Let me go back to it. Cheyenne Mountain Complex. Let me read the 16th verse again. And said to the mountains, and rocks, fall on us, because those retreats, those bunkers, the Most High is going to blast through all those bunkers. And then the ones of you that are deep in the earth and you survive it, we're going to dig you out of there. That's in Isaiah chapter 24. Let me go to that right quick. Isaiah 24. I'll start at the 10th verse and I'll jump around. It says, the city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. The 11th verse. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land, which is America, is gone. And that's spoken of in Revelation, the 18th chapter, one of my favorite chapters, because that chapter closes the show. In the city, which is Babylon the Great, that great city, is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. Gate meaning their defense. They're going to be utterly destroyed. Thirteenth verse. When thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be as the shaking of an olive tree, and as the gleaning grapes when the vintage is done. They shall lift up their voice, they shall sing for the majesty of the Lord, they shall cry aloud from the sea. Whereof glory ye the Lord, power in the fires, even the name of Yahweh, the Most High Israel, in the isles of the sea. So this right here, wherefore glorify ye the Lord in the fires. Another precept just came to mind. I believe that's Revelation 15. You know, this is why you must be diligent Give diligence, Peter said this, give diligence to make thy calling and election sure. Revelation 15 verse 1, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. And I saw as it were a sea of glass. Remember we read in Isaiah, glorify the Lord in the fire. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast. The beast represents NATO and the EU and this whole current system. And over the image is talking about the system itself, which is based upon the ancient pagan Roman system, not a picture of Caesar Borgia. And over his mark, and the mark is what? The word mark, if you click on the word mark, the word is charagma, and the word actually means graven. And then you have the root karax, which goes deeper into the word graving, meaning it's talking about the tool that you engrave with, which is the palisade or the needle. It has the slant that the delivery system, the delivery is the charagma itself. It's definitely, like we've been saying for years, it's definitely the charagma. And over the number of his name, because it's based upon the number system. Stand on the sea of glass, meaning we're going to be above, looking down, having the harps of the Most High. Third verse, Revelation 15 verse 3, and they sing the song of Moses. So we're going to be praising the Most High. And the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Lord power almighty, just and true are thy ways. So now where do we leave off at? Okay, Isaiah 24 verse 15. Wherefore, these are scriptures that we know by heart. Wherefore glorify ye the Lord in the fire. So the fulfillment of that is also in the book of Revelation, the 15th chapter. Precept upon precept. Even the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua B'Shem Rakakwadash, the Most High of Israel in the Isles of the Sea. 16th verse. From the utmost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to the righteous, because when the Lord comes, he's going to deliver the elect from the 4 quarters of the earth, the 4 winds. But I said, my leanest, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Yeah, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously. Now it says in Isaiah 36, when thou cease to doing treacherous, they shall deal treacherously with thee. So these are going to be the nations that are going to shoot missiles on you. Fair and the pit, the snare are open upon thee, O inhabitants of the earth. Let me jump down to the 18th verse. Well, let me go right to the point. '20th verse. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones, the ones that are in power, Edom, Esau, that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners. That's slavery. Prisoners mean slavery. Let me see what the Hebrew word there for prisoners. Masagar. It says dungeon, a shutting up, locksmith, smith, dungeon, enclosure, builder of bulwarks, that's a prison, dungeon. So you're going to be in these underground dungeons. And they, 22nd verse, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison or the dungeon, and after many days shall they be visited, because we're going to have you go out to work in the field. Amos 9 verse 3. And though they hide themselves in the top of the Carmel or the mountain, like I said, this Cheyenne Mountain Reserve or complex, those are one of the key places that they're going to hide in, and you can hide over 1 million people. You can put 1 million people up in there. I will search and take them out thence, and though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, those are also DUMBs, deep underground military bases. Thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. Job 34 verse 22. There is no darkness nor shadow of death where the workers of iniquity, the wicked, may hide themselves. So you're not going to be able to hide. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.